we're basically at the center point of the regular season. After this evening, after the Portland-Dallas match, basically pretty much we're already at the middle point. 34 regular season matches. We already had match day 18. 17 plus 17 is 34. So we're already at the halfway point. And after today, after the Dallas-Portland match, it's going to be like a big break, a 2-week break. Because got international break. We got Gold Cup coming up. So Gold Cup competitions is going to be taking place from either this coming week or next week. Basically the rest of June through early July is going to be Gold Cup competition. For me, when it comes to that, I really don't know who's the front runner to win it all. And honestly, I'm not too excited or thrilled for it because I'm still not pleased with the leadership for the USA national team. I think the leadership is weak. The fact that you allow a family, just one single family, to just destroy your business operations just because one guy is not getting playing time. I still believe that the USA national team is full of spoiled, entitled players who doesn't make a major impact on the domestic teams that they play for. There's really only one guy on the USA national team that really makes a major impact for the domestic team that he plays for, and that's Tyler Adams. He's the only guy that stands out the most to me. Everybody else are just role players, and for them to have this ideal that they must be treated like a star, that they must be treated like they're the next Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And the fact that a lot of people, pump their egos through social media, and when you finally see them play, you're like, these guys are not really all that. So what is all the hype about? Anyhow, when it comes to MLS match day 18, there's two teams that stood out the most to me so far during the second half. I mean, as we reach the halfway point of this MLS regular season, the two teams that I really that stand out to me as of right now, as of today, is LAFC and the Seattle Sounders. LAFC is not as strong as I thought they were. Now, and they're probably not as strong as you think they were either. I still haven't gotten over that CCL loss. I mean, that loss is going to go down as one of the biggest letdowns in MLS history. What the weakness that I'm seeing from LAFC is not really offensively per se, is more so defensively. I think during this summer transfer window, LAFC is going to have to find some defensive enforcements. They have to improve that defense, that back line, the last line of defense before you get to the goalie. The last line of defense has to get better. That was the issue that I saw in both legs of the CCL final against Lyon. And then I saw it again this past Saturday in match day 18 against Houston. The final line of defense. You need some reinforcements on the defensive end. Now, when it comes to offense, Carlos Vela needs a valuable sub. A guy who can come in and pick up the slack when he doesn't have a lot of energy to play. Because we got to remember Carlos Vela, he's up there in age now. And we can't expect him to perform at a high level every single match. And it's the same thing that I said earlier this season about Chicharito when he was injured. And I said, don't be surprised if Chicharito sits out the entire first half and the next time we see him will be the League's Cup. That's what I would have done. That's how I would have handled Chicharito's injury earlier this year. But I'm going to get into Chicharito a little later. Carlos Vela needs a valuable backup, a reliable backup. This is one of the reasons why they should have kept Danny Trejo. You didn't have enough money to satisfy Chicho Arango. So Chicho Arango left, he went to Mexico, and now somehow he's back in MLS. If you're LAFC, that's kind of like, that has to be like a slap in the face. That has to be like a slap in the face. Now, I don't know if Utah offered him more money this time around. With your LAFC, is like, you got to be like, come on, bruh. Like, come on, bruh. If you're eventually going to come back to MLS, like, we could have worked something out. Okay, we didn't have the money that you want, but we could have made it up in incentives. So if I'm LAFC, I've seen Chicho Arango going to Utah. I'm like, come on, bruh. Really? Now, Danny Trejo, he's currently in Phoenix. I don't know how much money it'll cost to purchase him back. And honestly, I have not been following a lot of USL this season. So I'm not even sure if Danny Trejo is still healthy. I don't know if he's been going through injury problems. I don't know how his play in Phoenix has been. But I still remember him from last year. And he was an impactful backup to Carlos Vela last year. And that is one guy that they should have kept. They should have found some way to keep him. Because his absence, you see his absence, it's really missing. It's needed. As for the Seattle Sounders, I have to admit, I didn't expect the Seattle Sounders to be a top 3 seed in the West at this point of the season. And the veterans have been carrying the team. But at the same time, that game against Charlotte, there are still some weaknesses. What I learned from that game in Charlotte is that, yeah, the veterans will keep you in the game, but they will not be able to hold a lead against a young, fast, energetic team. I don't see the Sounders making any major changes until they get new ownership. And that new ownership could be Jeff Bezos. As reports stated during the spring of this year, is that after Jeff Bezos wasn't able to purchase the Washington football team of the NFL, is that the Seahawks is still available for purchase, and that he may be interested in buying the Seahawks. Now, there's never been any public statement released by Jeff in regards to the possibility of that. But if Jeff Bezos purchased the Seahawks, that means he's automatically purchasing the Sounders, because Seahawks, Sounders, OL Reign, and the Portland Trailblazers, I think that's all one big package. Similar to how Stan Kroenke, he owns the LA Rams, the Denver Nuggets, the Colorado Rapids, and Arsenal. That's his package. I think when it comes to the Paul Allen Trust, the Paul Allen Trust is the Seahawks, the Portland Trailblazers, Seattle Sounders, and OL Reign of the NWSL. So if Bezos purchases all of I don't know how you call it in business terms, but if he purchases the assets, I guess you call them assets from the Paul Allen Trust, did that mean he automatically becomes the new owner of the Seattle Sounders? So I don't see Sounders making any major changes until they get new ownership. So I don't see them being active in the summer transfer market unless they prove me wrong. Now, let me get to the main message. Chicharito's injury. It wasn't supposed to happen. You know, a lot of times in sports, we talk about script, teams following the script. And we think in American sports, following the script only applies to NBA and NFL. Following the script also applies to Major League Soccer. One thing we got to remember about these sports teams in these leagues, even though they register as sports and entertainment businesses, they're really entertainment and sports. Entertainment is where they get the money. I say they're 90% entertainment, 10% sports. The money is made from entertainment. How well are you capable of entertaining your audience? You see, one of the reasons why a lot of soccer purists, it's hard for them to get on board with American soccer is because they don't understand the entertainment aspect of the game. They're so used to watching Europe and they're so infatuated with the European style of play. European culture, it's not about entertainment. They don't really understand the entertainment aspect of the game. It's still sports, tactics. That doesn't roll in America. In America, we want to see stars. We want to be entertained. We want to see guys score. It's one of the reasons why when it comes to entertainment, MLS is still lacking behind MLB and NHL. It's the entertainment aspect. And seeing a guy like Chicharito getting injured in the US Open Cup, it hurts the entertainment aspect of the game this afternoon. Chicharito was supposed to be the talk of this morning. We got a double header today. St. Louis, LA Galaxy. Portland, Dallas. So Portland and Dallas is fine this evening. Jesus Ferreira will be playing. The early half of the day, it was supposed to be Chicharito and Ricky Puig. And the fact that Chicharito's injury happened in the US Open Cup, it gives MLS leaders I'm trying to think of the right word to say. It gives them the tool that they've always wanted to use as a legitimate argument to say our teams don't want to participate in the US Open Cup. The US Open Cup is not safe for our players. We all remember a couple months ago when Don Garber called out the US Open Cup and he basically said MLS is not pleased. Those words wasn't from Don Garber. Those words were from MLS leadership. The owners, the governors. however you want to call it, of the teams that's in charge of the franchises, that's leading the franchises, the coaches, the players. The way the US Open Cup is currently ran, the way the US Open Cup is currently operating, is something that MLS does not want to have anything to do with. This is one of the reasons why in book 1, I was saying the US Open Cup may be in danger of becoming extinct. Because who's really going to watch US Open Cup if MLS is not participating? What major linear or even streaming, what US Open Cup is not on, they're not on linear radar right now. So we'll just stick to streaming. What major streaming deal will the US Open Cup get if MLS is not participating? Who's going to spend money on what media company is going to bet money on a group of amateurs? Think about it. This is the business aspect. The business aspect matters. The entertainment aspect matters. If this was just about sports, then yeah, we can say MLS, you want to go away. That's fine. You don't want to be part of the US Open Cup? Fine. Go away. We don't need you. We have other clubs that's willing to compete and that's willing to participate if this was just about sports. But this is not only about sports. This is about business. This is about entertainment. This is not Europe. Sports culture in America is different from sports culture in Europe. And just because it's soccer, that doesn't mean you have to apply European principles to American culture. It's not going to work. The US Open Cup cannot be ran like the FA Cup. The culture in America is different. So this Chicharito injury, I believe that there have been MLS leaders that have been quietly hoping that a key player gets severely injured in the US Open Cup so they can use that as a legitimate argument to say we need to make major changes. And the Chicharito injury, whenever MLS and US Open Cup leaders meet this summer or this fall, whenever they meet, the major topic of discussion is going to be the Chicharito injury. MLS is not happy about Chicharito being injured in the US Open Cup, and now he's out for the rest of the season. LA Galaxy is not happy about this. We were supposed to see whenever LA Galaxy played Miami this year. Okay, I take that back. LA Galaxy does not play Inter Miami CF this year. So, all right, that's a bullet dodge. But if that was going to happen, that would have been a big disappointment of us missing the chance to see Chicharito go against Lionel Messi. MLS's star veteran versus the newest MLS star. I don't know if Chicharito's coming back to LA Galaxy next season. I mean, and why would he? Why would he want to? Why would Chicharito want to come back to LA Galaxy? I mean, you got teammates who are not playing hard, teammates who looks like they're just looking out for themselves. They don't respect the crest, the LA Galaxy crest. It looks like they don't care about the history of LA Galaxy. They don't treat LA Galaxy like a prestigious club. Why would Chicharito want to come back to play for LA Galaxy next season? I mean, you got a front office where they're terrible at recruiting. They could learn from LAFC when it comes to recruiting. Like, I mean, if you're Chicharito, why would you want to come back? The only way he will come back this season, they got to offer him some hefty money just for the sake of Lionel Messi, because it'll be nice for us to see Chicharito go against Lionel Messi the first week of the 2024 season, like MLS opening week, like a Friday night soccer, the first MLS game of the 2024 season, LA Galaxy versus Inter Miami. This game will most likely be played probably at the Dolphins Stadium, either the Dolphins Stadium or University of Miami Football Stadium. Chicharito versus Lionel Messi, first game of the 2024 season. But in order for Chicharito to come back, man, y'all gonna have to offer him some hefty money. In the 2024 season, it would definitely be his farewell season. And he deserves it. Like the same way Kobe had a farewell season, the Lakers, his last year with the Lakers, I think 2024 will be something good for Chicharito. He's been good for Major League Soccer. Pay him a good amount of money and tell him, look, we're not going to force you to play in every game. You're definitely not going to play in a U.S. Open Cup match. Like, you're not. This is going to be your farewell season, Chicharito. We want to send you off properly. We don't want to send you off in a wheelchair. We don't want to say goodbye to you in a wheelchair or in crutches. We want to send you out the right way. We want to give you the Kobe Bryant treatment. So that's just something LA Galaxy and Chicharito, y'all should think about. U.S. Open Cup. There's going to be some changes made. And the reason why I'm saying this, because I know Don Garber doesn't put out the kind of message and make it public for no reason. These are talks that have been going on for years behind closed doors. And now they finally got that leverage, a valid argument to say changes need to be made. So here are the changes that I propose for U.S. Open Cup. It has to become exclusive. And I'm gonna write about this in the blog. I'm gonna go more into detail about it in my blog. It has to become exclusive. It can no longer be inclusive. Inclusion, you're losing money with inclusion. Inclusion causes you to lose money. We need the best teams in the U.S. Open Cup. Not every team. We need the best teams in the U.S. Open Cup. So my suggestion would be the top 4 teams from each league. The teams that finish in the top 4. So you have your top 4 MLS teams, your top 4 USL Championship teams, your top USL 1 teams, your top NPSL, NISA, and your top 4 amateurs. The best teams, the teams that won league championships, division championships, conference championships, a mixture of that. Your top 4 teams participate in a Sweet 16 U.S. Open Cup. And if top 4 seems too much, then top 2 then. Either somewhere between 2 and 4. Either your top 4 teams from each league participate in the U.S. Open Cup. You have a Sweet 16 style tournament, or your top 2 teams. participate in the US Open Cup moving forward. If you have the best teams participating instead of every team, it'll be more marketable. And you won't have so many teams losing money from travel and hotel costs and trying to balance so many games played in the US Open Cup with the regular season, which is tough for every team. It's not only an MLS issue. It's every league. It's the issue with them. But MLS is the biggest league. And like I said, the majority stands out. The biggest group stands out. So that's why the center of this topic is MLS. But it's not only an MLS issue. Every league they have complaints about US Open Cup too. But because MLS is the biggest league, that's why their words holds more weight. So I'm going to write a blog about this. I'm going to go into more detail in my blog. I'm going to release it this week. Hopefully it'll be released before US Open Cup and MLS leaders meet. I don't know when they're going to meet. Maybe they already met with each other. Maybe they already spoken with each other already. But we got an international break for the rest of this month. The Final Four US Open Cup won't be until August. I don't know when in August, probably late August, the last weekend in August. So I got enough time to get into this. And also I'm going to talk more about it in Saturday Night Special Season 2. If you've been following me last year I did a Saturday Night Special where I talk, or it's monologues mixed with music. So it was like a podcast, like a unofficial podcast. Season 2 is going to start this weekend. So I'm going to talk more about US Open Cup issues and how we can Americanize the US Open Cup for the sake of longevity, sustainability, entertainment, and landing a major linear partner. Because remember what I said, the linear networks are evolving. They're starting their own streaming services too. They have their own streaming partners too. Linear is still important. A lot of people still rely on linear because linear is easier to reach rather than streaming. You know, when it comes to linear, you don't have to remember any passwords. You don't have to remember how to download any apps. You can just go to the website on your laptop or turn on the TV and the game is instantly there. That is how linear still has an advantage over streaming. Linear is easier to reach. You don't have to remember passwords. You don't have to really download any apps. You just go to the website on your laptop or you turn on your TV and it's there. The game is there. So linear is still important. And US Open Cup, you have to start thinking big when it comes to business. The entertainment aspect is more important than the sports. Remember US Open Cup. This is about longevity, sustainability, and improving the entertainment aspect of the game. Soccer is always going to be around. For so many years, you focus on soccer, and as a result of that, you have been treated as just a recreational competition. When I watch the US Open Cup, it looks like PE. Just recess. That's what it looks like, recess. Guys, the teams just fill up a roster. Like, it's like pickup soccer. Like the teams say, okay, they go to the players, okay, who wants to play in the US Open Cup today? A group of guys just raise their hand, or some of them are forced and they just go out there and play soccer. It looks like recess. It's time for us to move away from the recess. and turn the US Open Cup into a major prestigious tournament similar to the CCC.